So, welcome to Ditch the Diet, Face the Feelings, our weekly panel talking this week about body image.
Hello. Beth, haven't seen you for ages.
I know, like a whole, maybe like hour.
We've been like shits in the night, haven't we?
Yeah, that's like, I spoke this morning with Sharon and Sarah and Andrea, and then I got on another call and oh look, there's Sharon and Andrea and Sarah again.
Well, here we are talking about my favorite thing.
Well, as I said to you, I'm going to try and not be too abusive about, the fashion industry and the standards that people think we're supposed to keep up with, which are, to my mind, completely unrealistic.
Oh, this platform, I love it. I love this panel. Well, I mean, it's so multidimensional, I mean, it comes down from our parents who grew up during the war, and they grew up starving or rationed, or, if you want to lose weight, just stop eating. So you get that kind of body image, and then you grow up with, the teen magazines.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Start you off with all the makeup and the crop tops and the little stringy bikinis, and you're like, wait,
I'm already put that on this. I'm already seeing that in my 5-year-old. Now I have to laugh. My 5-year-old has loved makeup ever since she discovered my lipstick, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But she literally goes on YouTube and watches makeup tutorials and tries to copy them. And I sat there, I had that real internal, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I realized that, here in Panama, women wear makeup. I'm the exception. Yes, I put on lipstick before jumping on this call with you. And I added a little bit of bronzer because I was looking like death warmed up.
Well, I said to you, I wear it just to look not dug up,
Exactly.
I'm so pale because I've avoided the sun for 20 odd years.
And I continue to avoid the sun because it destroys me.
Yes, it does.
I go out every morning at about 7:30, and I'll sit in the sun for about 15 minutes because I want my vitamin D. And that's it. I'm done. I got my morning sun, and I'm not getting it for the rest of the day. That's all I needed. That very first early morning sun that's
nice,
not going to burn
really early, just sitting out with a cuppa.
Yeah, you got me. It's always with a cuppa. And Isabella's like, can we go out now? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't have my hot chocolate ready yet. No, we can't go out yet.
But I mean, the makeup thing, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's an expression of creativity. It is an expression, or used to be an expression of what people perceive as feminine.
Yeah.
But men wear makeup now. It's totally,
which I think is fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. I think whatever floats your boat. So in terms of makeup, as long as it's not a message to say, if you don't wear this, you're ugly.
Right. And I think that my the fun I have with Isabella in makeup is that sometimes she wants face paint. Literally, she wants a purple face. And I sat there going, okay, I'm okay with this. If you want to see this as art, as simply being a kid having fun, have all the makeup you want.
Absolutely.
And this becomes about, am I beautiful? Well, then we're going to have conversations.
And I mean, growing up around, especially in school, when you get to about 13 or 14, you start noticing boys, You know, that's when the whole body image, well, you know, it was 12
Yeah.
for me, but that's when the whole body image thing really starts coming in, isn't it? Because then we have, well, we're exposed to this perception that we need to look a certain way.
Right.
Or, you know,
and if you look at, you know, the average weight and body size of, say, a model versus the average weight and body size of a typical woman, and I'm not saying that we should promote obesity, but we should not shame it either.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting here going, you know, women should be comfortable having womanly bodies. I mean, I can remember mums always had an hourglass figure. So she had the big boobs, you know, she had the waist, and then she had the motherly childbearing hips.
Yeah. My mum did. And she was constantly dieting.
Right. And I was constantly told as a kid, she was constantly coming out of her mouth of how overweight and how fat she was.
Yeah.
And I look at the photos now and I'm like, oh my God, she had a perfect, she was
statuesque, wasn't she?
Yes.
My mum was just beautiful.
I mean, she was, exactly. And I look at the legs and they were strong legs. And I look at the arms, and no, they weren't muscular, but they weren't fat.
No.
You know, those were arms of a woman who'd lifted children, who was doing things, who was just busy living life. But
you know, they probably grew up during the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, have you seen some of those advertisements? So, where did you feed your husband when he gets home?
Oh my goodness. I mean,
you know, I wish I could go back to those days. You know, wear this at the kitchen sink. You know, you must put makeup on before you start cooking.
I mean, yes. And the whole thing of, before he gets home, you know, make sure you freshen up. And I'm like, oh yeah, because he's going to want to take you straight to bed. I mean, sorry.
It's just spectacularly shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because I think in those days, you know, the men were confronted with an image of what a woman should be, as well as.
And the men were confronted with an image of what the men were supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you take into account the generations, hey, stop tearing up your bed. No. Out you go. Do not tear up the dog bed. So I've got one dog who is a little bit of a problematic little girl, and she grabs the other dog's bed and she starts shredding it.
Oh, to be a dog, eh?
Yeah. And oh, to be a dog in my house, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, our parents probably grew up in that time.
Oh, absolutely.
So it would have, you know, they would have been bombarded with those images. So, and that quite often was, you know, it kind of changed through the 70s, I know. But there was still this, I need to look a certain way.
Well, yeah, but then you look at the body of the 70s and the Twiggy model of, you know, and I mean, I grew up thinking that my thighs were thunder thighs. And I look at my thighs now and I was like, gosh, those were not thunder thighs. Thunder thighs are what I had when, you know, it's like, but
you know, I mean, it's how exposed these youngsters are to, you've got to look this way. And as a result, they feel excluded from everyone else. And that's what starts the feelings of negative body image. I mean, I was a gymnast, I was a swimmer, I was, you know, into dance.
You were very active,
to ride horses and blah, blah. I was, you know, I don't remember having a sense of a negative body image, but there was always something there to remind me that, you know, I shouldn't look a certain way.
Right. Yeah. And I remember at boarding school, we had one of the girls that was considerably heavier, and her parents were both thick set. There
yeah,
was no way she was ever going to be slim.
right.
And because we were boarding school, our dorm dad literally put a lock on the fridge and shamed her. And I remember him making her go out for runs every morning, and you have to do so much running. Now, I imagine at some level there was a good intention, but oh my God, that was handled so badly. I would say it bordered on
Yeah,
abuse, the way he handled it.
totally. I mean,
Because the thing is that while I
presumably
understand,
isolated her entirely.
oh, absolutely. And what ended up happening was that others of us feeling sorry for her would go for runs with her.
Yeah. Oh,
But
I mean,
but
I
for
don't,
me,
yeah,
I remember that, what she considered really hard work for me was easy.
right.
And and that was the whole thing of this just simply wasn't fair. If
Yeah.
if we tested all animals on their ability to climb a tree, how would
Mm,
elephants or fish do? And so that makes you a bad animal? No.
no, it doesn't.
Um,
I
and
mean,
and
I was
so
lucky. I was lucky because I don't ever feel like I was isolated
right.
and
Yeah,
abused in that way.
yeah.
But it was more inward.
But it was emotional of that pressure of you've got to look a certain way and
Yeah,
you've got to do this. And I mean, I remember my mom going for runs at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning because she had to get fit again and she had to be slim. And I look at the photos of her then and I was like, oh my gosh, mom, you were fit. And you were, I mean,
isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, my
And
mum used to help my sister a lot with the horses, which meant that she was up at
right,
7 o'clock with wheelbarrows and, just sweeping
right.
stables and every single day for
Yeah. And
days.
there's a whole lot of fitness that goes in that.
Yeah, and fresh air,
Well,
and
yes. Yeah.
just,
And living life.
yeah, and she was
Yeah.
amazing. And,
Yeah.
um, it was something that we developed together, was going to these slimming clubs because she took me along, started taking me along to these clubs when I was like 6.
Yeah.
So it developed as something that we did together,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is amazing.
I was really lucky because like with my mom, I remember when I started working probably at 1920, I started working at a bar restaurant and I was always working late at night. Mom was doing the afternoon shifts at hospital. So she'd be working from 3 till 11.
Yeah.
And so on Thursday, Friday, and sometimes she usually didn't work Saturdays, but she on Thursdays and Friday nights, after she finished her night or her afternoon shift, she'd come into the bar where I was working, and I would have my coffee break when she was finishing her shift.
Yeah.
And so for me, that semi-adult memory of mom is coffee at 11:30, quarter to 12 at night, when she's getting off work and I've still got another 2 hours to go or whatever.
Yeah.
But all of my friends that were working there going, damn, your mom is cool.
Yeah.
Because,
That's a nice memory to have, isn't it?
If she would come in and I was busy, one of the other ones would go have coffee with her. They didn't like, oh, your mom's here for coffee, so somebody gets a coffee break.
Bless.
But so that's and obviously with dad was always at every single soccer game. So for when I was in high school playing soccer, he'd be there. And sometimes that means you're getting up in a winter morning at 6 a.m. and you're headed out and it's foggy and you can barely see to drive to whichever school it was you were going to. But you could count on Dad that rain or shine, he'd be at the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I do have those kinds of memories of, it was always about fitness level. It wasn't about how you looked, but I was really, really conscious about my teeth because I had buck teeth. I didn't get braces until I was about 20, 21. After my wisdom teeth came in, I had all 4 wisdom teeth pulled out, and then I got braces. And thankfully, I didn't get braces before because the wisdom teeth would have ruined it all.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they had to make room for fixing it. But I remember being really self-conscious about smiling my whole way through my teens because of my teeth.
Yeah. So where does something like that come from? You know, I mean, I know really little kids.
Well, I remember being called Bugs Bunny. Absolutely remember being called Bugs Bunny. Because on top of that, I had that gap between your teeth, you know, that
the Madonna gap.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
She made it cheek.
Right. Yeah, except that my teeth also came out, you know. So, so I do remember. I remember that always smiling with a closed mouth, and I still find myself doing it even today.
Do you know? I mean, it was only recent I discovered my sister did exactly that. She went through years of getting her teeth, you know, put right, straightened, and so on. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" Because I never occurred to me, you know. I loved my sister. I didn't look at her that way at all.
And I don't think anybody else in my life was even aware of how much it bothered me.
Yeah,
you know, they were completely, you know, this was something I did with my money once I was working and able to pay for it. It was one of those things that I wanted to do for me. And I also, and I'll say, you know, I got no problem saying this, I also had my ears pinned back when I was, I don't know, 26, 27, and I could afford plastic surgery. And, you know, a friend of mine said to me, you would go with plastic surgery. And I was like, I will never tell somebody not to. I will question the need for it.
I would totally have plastic surgery if I had the money for it.
But at the same time, I'm never going to say to somebody, no, don't do that. I mean, obviously, if it's going to put your
personal choice.
If it's going to put your life in danger, if it's got high risk, yes, I'm going to suggest maybe, you know, is that really that important?
Yeah.
But I'm also really aware of, they were things that no one noticed except for me.
I mean, I had only last year I had my lips done because they were bothering me. Nobody else noticed, but I had a chronic resting bitch face. You know, honestly, it was terrifying, you know, and so I kind of got it fixed because it was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a real scowl, you know, and everyone was saying, "You're right. What's up?" I'm like, "Nothing. That's just my face."
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it was bothering me because, you know, so I did it, and I don't consider that something to do with, you know, a negative body image. I mean, it makes
and so I mean, like I know with me, when I did my ears, nobody understood it. They were like, "You did what?" I was like, "I got my ears pinned back." They're like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, because I had Dumbo ears." And they're like, "No, you didn't." I was like, "Yes, I did."
See, I mean, love transcends all of that. And really, if your family love you, they don't see it.
They don't see it. Exactly.
You know, if it bothers you, then do the research, you know, talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
And make it your body. So, you know, if it's something that increases your confidence and improves your self-esteem, then I would say, you know, by all means consider it. But, you know, don't go the other way.
Yeah. And yeah, I know people, and I know a number of people with serious health issues like bulimia, like anorexia, because they've taken the body image just so into who they are that they can never, it alters their perception.
I mean, I had a client last year. One of the things, I said, who do you admire? Who do you want to be like? And she said, Kylie Minogue, because she's thin.
Okay.
And she was beautiful in her own way, I mean, she had the same frame and build, but I mean, it's all how we see ourselves.
Yeah.
And what we never do is look in the mirror and say, hey girl, you're looking good today.
Exactly.
I do that every morning now for the past 2 years.
Exactly. But you have to work on it. It's not something that comes naturally. I mean, like I look in the mirror and I do. I sit there and I go, I love myself just the way I am.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to do that because of health issues.
Yeah.
That
it's really difficult.
Oh yeah. And if
I mean, making eye contact with yourself as well, saying, you look great. You don't need to change a thing.
Yeah.
I love you just how you look. You're fab, lady. I mean, I was avoiding that for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes such a difference, because when you make eye contact with yourself in the mirror, you're literally talking to your subconscious.
Yeah.
And it sounds really sort of tree huggy, but it's not. It works.
Yeah.
And
the thing is that, what I've recognized as I told myself I love you, I have started eating better. As in more compassionately for myself.
Exactly. You start treating yourself.
Exactly. I've started doing more exercise, and I found myself, I'm starting April, and I was at my Goddess Mastermind, and Bonnie said, so what are your intentions? And I was like, I want my 6-pack abs back. And she's like, where did that come from? And I was like, I can finally.
I'd settle for one ab this year.
I was like,
settle for one.
I was like, I can finally see the outline of what used to be my 6-pack abs. And you know what? I'm willing to do the work to get it.
Yeah.
And it was until I mean, when she asked the question, I had no idea that was the answer that was going to roll off my tongue. Like, it wasn't something I'd been thinking about for days beforehand, or was on my vision board, or was on anything like that. My vision board is about health and vitality.
Yeah.
It's not specifically 6-pack abs and a beach body,
Yeah.
But what happened somewhere along the way in March, as we were doing everything about movement, I had this awakening of, you're just cruising as opposed to doing the work, and you could be doing more. And it was like, oh, damn, really?
I've had that thought since moving through March, and I want to take up boxing again, because I used to love it.
Which is kind of where I was at with karate. I sat there going, I mean, I either want to get a Tai Chi teacher or karate and go back into doing the katas again. It's not so much about the whole fighting, but I think
it's good for feminine psyche to explore that part of herself.
Yeah.
Certainly. Because, I mean, we're always going on about the warrior goddess and all that blah.
Yeah.
That's more to do with spirit rather than it is physically. But there's still, I mean, I love boxing, not only because of you know, it's a channeled kind of aggression.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, for me, there's nothing like having somebody holding two mats up and saying, punch it. It's like, yes, thank you.
I'm getting a daydream just thinking about it.
You just hold those two pads there.
Women really don't. I mean, they don't exercise that part of their psyche, and I think they need to.
I do too. I mean, like, I love going to the shooting range and shooting.
Yeah.
For me, the one of my biggest heartbreaks is that my partner in crime moved to a different province and is no longer available to go with me every Saturday down to the range, because it's not as much fun when you go by yourself.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and it was always cool to have somebody that said, hey, a couple of us guys, and it was always like that. A couple of us guys are going to the range. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
And quite usually I'd be the only girl on the range. And I can remember the first time I took what is now my ex-husband to the range with me. Yeah. And so he was shooting, and
Did
then no, but after he left, the guy sat there and they're like, you've never shot that bad in your life. You freaking missed on purpose. And they were like, what were you aiming for? And I was like, the bottom left-hand corner. And I was like, I got every shot.
Wicked lady.
Hey, you know, I was like, I'm not going to sit there showing him that, you know,
you're a crack shot.
It's like, not going to happen. But I did, you know, and it comes back to that image of what our expectations as to this is what a woman does, this is what a guy does.
This is what a woman's good at. This is what a guy.
And you know, and I had not ever played down my ability with this group of guys. I mean, the group of guys that I went to shoot with, I was always competitive. I was always trying to outshoot them. And they were like, yeah, we just watched you just play it all down. But you know, that whole image of what are you supposed to look like? What are you supposed to, you know, what are expectations of,
how are you supposed to act? Yeah. What are you supposed to wear? What are you supposed to eat?
Yeah.
How should you feel about yourself? Now, a lot of these magazines, which we were saying at the beginning, you know, on one page they say, oh, you're amazing. And then on the next page, there's a model. And on the next page, there's a recipe.
Exactly. And the recipes, I mean, you look at the recipes and it's like, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah. Fig and syrup sponge. You're like, you just 2 pages before you're telling me to look like this.
Exactly. And then you're telling me all about the exercise I should be doing. But here's a triple chocolate cake for you.
Yeah. For when you get back from the Beachbody diet, here's the recipe. You know, see Beachbody diet on page 20. Yeah. You know, like, wow, way to confuse women. But I think, you know, funny, I was watching a Russell Brand thing on YouTube. He's sort of turned into quite the guy now. And he was talking about it, and he was saying that it's intentionally keeps us wanting to look another way, or wanting to feel another way, or
as opposed to one of the things
that we buy things.
Oh yes, oh my gosh, yeah, consumer.
And I'm like, wait, that actually, that sounds true to me.
Yeah, one of the best advice I always get from Andrea Hendren is drop down into your body. Stop.
Oh, I love that.
Drop down into your body.
The first time she did that with me, I went, woo.
Yeah. And of course, the
God.
moment you're out of your head and you're down in your body, it's like
you curl up and go,
oh yeah, okay, I'm safe, I'm good.
yeah,
I'm not in overdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a practice I'm going to adopt daily.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it just takes you out of, it doesn't avoid the whatever it is you're thinking. It just gives you a break from it. And I think that's great. Whatever you can do to feel better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Closing thoughts on body image and how, as women, we can change our image of ourselves. We've talked about everything under the sun today.
We have, haven't we? But don't we always do that?
Yeah.
We run a Ditch the Diet panel, end up talking about ice cream. But anyway, I mean, my final words on it really, what makes a difference to me is connect with a group of people that are non-judgmental and don't read those freaking magazines, I mean, they're just, but, I would say connection with, people that are in a similar space is the first step to improving your sense of body image.
Yeah. And I know that for me, the one thing I would say is that, I remember years ago when Callista Flockhart said, well, at least I have my health. And at the time, I laughed thinking it was a brilliant joke. Afterwards, when I had celiac and all sorts of gut health problems, it was like, I wish I had my health.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing, it's how do you feel in your body? It's not how does it look in the mirror, but how are you feeling?
Yeah. And disassociate from the I am fat thing. You're not fat. You are a person who has some
exactly. and I would say that, if I was going to say an affirmation, it's I am healthy and energetic.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes to be healthy and energetic, because at the end of the day, my body is meant to carry me around and do for me what I want to do, to be the change in the world.
One. I mean, it's been through so much shit with me. So, at the moment I'm thanking it for getting me this far. For God's sake, I've done some terrible things with it.
Yeah.
So, we're all on a healing journey and this body image thing.
Yeah.
So really need
and it is, it's about how are you feeling in this body and what do you need to give this body for it to feel healthy and energetic, and do that. Stop worrying. Shirley Billingmeyer, who set up energetics, the energetics process, she always says, just put size and weight on the shelf and leave it there. And let's look at how are you living life.
Find something else to play with. The words you use for me are radiant and funny.
Right. I am radiant and funny. Exactly. And so if I'm being those two things, life's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think start there, find two words and, look in the mirror and say that.
Yeah. So for me, that was health and vitality. And it was like, if I am health and vitality, the rest is
right. Yeah, exactly. But it's always remember my final word on this is you are okay.
Yeah.
Just the way you are right this second.
And that's where we start. We start with I am enough. I'm enough here and now. Thank you so much, Sammy, for coming on with me today. This has been awesome. And bye-bye, guys. See you all next week.
Bye.